first bit of native. Our local bush robins just came up onto my pack and said g'day. So, g'day. We're going into the Dart River. We're going to go to Daleys Hut. Here's my mate back again. Friendly. Anyway, we've come in. She's a hoarfrost, just to freshen up. Bluebird day, which is fantastic because we're coming through Cromwell and through Gibson Valley. It was absolutely frozen, -5 and a hard hoarfrost. So there we go. One other car in the car park. I don't think they're going far because I've got babies. Anyway, I'll catch up a bit further on. We've only got so much day, so better start getting on the way. Oh, it's going to be dark before I get there. Have a chat later. I think the fair amount of this track's actually through the forest, which we won't see very much sun apart from the clearing, so might be a wee bit cold. Anyway, we're in for a trip to have a photography trip this time. No hunting, which is quite nice. I don't have to carry a rifle for once. Anyway, so I'm going to be talking a little bit about different types of photography and how we best use the equipment. We'll go over a little bit of the equipment that I carry, and I'm going to have to keep moving today because it's now midday, and the estimates for getting to Daleys range from about 3 hours to 7 hours. Now if I'm taking some photography, doing some video on the way back, that might take up most of my time. So it's going to be a bit of a trip in. I've also got a shed load of quick camera gear with me, so I think all I did was trade my rifle for some extra camera gear, lenses and a second body and so forth. Anyway, Bluebird day, we'll keep going and I'll catch up with you at the next stop. It's kind of raining and dropping on from you all at the same time from above, so I'm not going to look up too much because I imagine there might be a little bit of hanging ice above me. So I'm just going to ignore that. Oh yeah, there is. Right. Oh, well, hopefully that's the most shaded of it all. So, give you a bit of orientation where we are. That there is the Beans Burn, and behind me through here is the Dart, and the Dart River, of course, going down towards Glenorchy that way, or towards Paradise and Glenorchy. So we've got to get up past this gorge quite a way up the valley. I think it's 16 k's from memory, and then yeah, go and take some photographs. Yeah. There's an animal just moving ahead of us. I'll show you the prints. It's been running in that direction up the path. So Just heard some jet boats coming up, and then it stopped all of a sudden. So I wonder if they've got themselves stuck back behind me here. There's a wee rapid back there. I think they might have stopped on rapidly. Anyway, how's that for a view? Not bad. Looking forward to tonight when the light gets down a wee bit and we can get the main camera out and do some proper work. However, I'm only a third of the way here. I've got to get up past this bluff here behind me and then well back past that, so got a long way to go, so I better keep going. This is the new Bedford swing bridge. So, Bedford Creek swing bridge. It looks like it's only been here, well, just from this year, so I might be one of the first people to cross it. So, beefy looking thing. Can't see it being knocked out. Well, we'll see how it goes in the long term. Might be that the, we'll see how it goes. Good looking thing though. Good on you, Doc. Great approach, you don't have to swing on it. Swing, get here or on it. Good grip across it as well. Anywho, there we go. Oh, it's got a wee bit of height between the creek and the bridge. That's great. Yeah, I think that'll probably be alright for quite a long time. So I'll swing around so, oops, sorry. You can kind of see it, where it sits. Yeah, well done. So what you can see behind me here, a massive slip come off of the hill up here. In fact, it blocked the whole river for a while and formed a lake. Not sure if that lake's still there or not, but this goes to show the massive amount of movement of rock and dirt that came down. Goes all the way from over here up here. Well, that was all a bit exciting. It's all frozen up on there. The handrail's frozen, so you can't grab the handrail properly, and the steel's all frozen as well, which means you don't have a lot of grip with your feet. And then it's trying to rain on you all at the same time, so you're good in summer. So all of this used to be the lake. Now it's just this massive gravel pile. Quite amazing. This is taking forever. And it's taking forever because we've got to do the high water route, because down there you can even see the animals haven't been crossing that. It's all just soft sand, and well, it's a bit of a bugger actually, because if you could go up the flat it would be so much quicker, but no, you've got to take the high water route at the moment. This little pile of sticks here is called a fuchsia, or fuchsia exoticata is the other name for it. drops all of its leaves in winter, or most of them anyway. And it's a bit of an interesting tree in that it actually holds its flowers on the branches, so not on the tips but on the branches, and sometimes on the main, like lateral and so forth, but not right on the tips, and often funny places on the main stem as well. Fuchsia exoticata, quite a cool tree. There's little groves of it in places, and pretty little purple and white flower on it. A load of that. Imagine the force that left that sitting there. Be a bad day in the hills, wouldn't it? Oh well, we're getting there slowly. Carrying on. Well, as you may or may not be able to see, it's getting quite dark, and got my headlamp on, and within about 15 minutes of the sun going down behind that hill, everything's frozen up, so it's just a wee bit bloody cold now. At least it's an easy to find track, so we'll keep heading back to the hut. I think we're about 1.2 k's away now, so not too far. Ah, you little beauty. Right, here's the hut. Here we go. Welcome to Daleys Hut. There, only 470 metres above sea level. Oh well, I don't care how high it is above sea level. I'm glad to be here. Right, well, here's our first look. Let's see how we go with that. Got a cup up, and starting the makings of the fire. Whitetail over there. Just in that corner there. I can get the cameras quietly, see if I can get some footage of that. I'm still in the hut. Still haven't put my boots on. Yep, no, there's definitely a couple of whitetail over there. Just in the corner of that clearing. But I've got that on footage from the deck of the hut. Amazing. Anyway, bodes well for the day, so we have another cup of tea on that. Hi, good morning. That was a lovely night in the hut. There's a fire in here, and managed to get some of the chill off the hut overnight, so that's fantastic. Did promise you I was going to show you my camera gear. I'm filming on an Insta360 Ace Pro 2 and on 4K 30 frames per second. It's a fabulous little camera. I'll do a separate review on that at some stage. My main video camera is the one here. So this is a Nikon ZF with a what have we got on it? It's a 16 to 30mm f4, which is not f2.8, but most of the time we're shooting slightly shut down anyway, especially if we're trying to capture a little bit of action on an animal to make sure that we get it in focus. The Nikon's really good, reliable camera with rotating dials, which I like. I can set things to where I want them, and I can make sure easily that they're where they are rather than having to go into menu systems. On top we've got a Rode Pro mic, Pro video mic. I like this because it turns on when you turn the camera on, so as soon as I turn the camera on, the Rode mic turns on. I've got a small rig box in the front which holds a neutral density filter and gives it a little bit of side light protection. There is a French flag you can put on the front, but I haven't brought that with me because I'm trying to keep my weight down. As it was, I think my camera kit was probably somewhere between 25 and 30 kilos this time, which killed me coming in last night. Yeah, I think carrying some of the lighter stuff definitely a way forward. My stills camera is a Nikon Z7, and that's a 45 megapixel camera, and I've just got a Rode stereo video mic on the top of that in case I shoot video, which I did this morning actually, because it had the long lens on there. Wasn't sure how long those animals were going to be standing around for, so I just shot with a 200 to 24 or 24 to 200 f4 to 5.6 and I managed to capture the video after a couple of attempts. Anyway, so as well as that, I carry a bag full of batteries, which probably weighs a good kilo in itself. And I also carry, for things that I want to photograph or video that are I don't want to break my Insta or the big camera, I just have a little GoPro Hero, which I don't particularly like. They're a pain in the ass, to be honest with you, but it's what I've got, and they're okay for doing some time lapses and things with. Carry a couple of spare batteries with that as well. About 5 spare batteries for the two Nikons. Fortunately they share the same batteries. And then I also carry one of these, which is a Insta360 charging box. So in here we can put 2 batteries, and I've got one obviously running the camera at the moment, but when that one goes flat I just throw it into the box, take the other battery out, close the battery top, throw it in my pack, and it's charging while I'm going. I think I'll get about 3 or 4 charges out of the box. I think you may not be able to do two-way charging, so still need a separate charger for your phone or your GPS or whatever. And then lastly, just in case all of that fails, carry a Samsung S23 Pro. I think it's the Pro. Anywho, it's got 4K and 8K video on the phone itself. So there was a little bit of film earlier from yesterday, which you may or may not have noticed. It was an 8K from the phone. So how many cameras is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, I'm carrying 5 cameras effectively on this trip. Little wonder it was a long trip in yesterday. Anyway, I'm going to finish my coffee and then go and take some more images. Those mountains behind me, those sheer cliffs up here, that's all as a result of the last glaciation literally bulldozing the mountain away, leaving it way down in Queenstown. Quite amazing. Let's see if I can zoom in on that for you. There we go. Quite a useful technique when you're in bright sun like this is to look for something that's got a dark shadow behind it. So in this case, this here, and then expose for the highlights, and you'll end up with quite a dramatic sort of looking image from that. So I'm just about to do this now. So there we go. I've waited until the wind has dropped off and there's not too much movement. I've exposed for the highlights with the curves. I can pull the shadows if I need to further on, but I've definitely highlighted, gone for the brightest on the viewfinder, looking at the histogram as well. So I've got the brightest ones just at the right hand side of the histogram, which leaves a lot of shadow. Fortunately on the ZF it gives me a black and white view, so I can actually see what it's going to look like in black and white. Sometimes these sorts of images look better with a little bit of a longer lens, so I'm shooting on 105mm, and just take another photograph there because the wind's dropped again. Video, I'd want to do that when the wind was moving, so I had some video movement just to sort of make it look a little bit less flat, which I've done some video on as well. I'll do a little bit more now. weather's on the change. I think it was quite windy last night. You can probably see the camera swaying around a little bit. Cloud is just starting to chunk up on the southern Alps up here on the main divide. Usually that's a sign that the weather's on the change and some rain's on the way. Fortunately, all the bridges have got all the crossings have got bridges on them, so there's no worries about getting out. And it's been windy and warm, so hopefully the ice has dropped off, as some of those crossings in winter with ice in them could be a little bit dodgy, especially with some of the drops around some of the bluffs. However, lovely day. Didn't see the whitetail deer out this morning, so nothing to report there. So we'll get on the road. We've got I think it took me 6 hours to get in, so the 5.5 to 7.5 hours is probably accurate. It would have been quicker without the ice, but anyway, so we'll see how long it takes to get out. I'm of course on day 3 now, so might take a little bit longer, but I've got all day this day, so here we go. Right, we'll see you shortly. So behind me here is Te Koroka Reserve, or it's an archaeological area for Māori. There's no access to it unless you're Māori, probably with Ngāi Tahu roots. And it would have been a major greenstone gathering site and an archaeological or a historical site for the local iwi. So it's also the area where the landslides have occurred. So it would be really interesting to know from any of my subscribers, sorry about the wind, it'd be really interesting to know about this, if there's any sort of cultural significance thought with the landslides in the area. Yeah, anyway, leave a comment below if you know what the local thoughts are for that. And in the meantime, I'm going to head back into the bush and battle my way back down the high water route. Be good when this gets covered in tussock again and you can walk on it. Anyway, catch up with you in a little bit. So all this rock down through here, the rock in front of me and the rock on the path there, came off of up there not too long ago. Bit of frost heave, bit of water, clunk, down she goes. Right, so this is where we're going, up through here and out the back, and she's all like that off the other side. So whilst there's a good handrail and it's nice and wide, not a place to be taken lightly. So large sections of the track are kind of like this, the up and down and around like this, up through sections like this, and just, you know, kind of pretty easy going, but a lot of climbing up and down routes and things in places, and there's less flats than you would expect, but other than that, and the bluffs, the two bluffs have got some interesting bits on them. It wouldn't be a place I'd probably take little kids, just because of those bluffs, unless you can tie them onto something and guide them around. Anyway, we're getting back. We're about a bit past a third of the way back, I suppose, now. Well, we're at Chinaman's Bluff, so it's been a bit of a walk. Anyway, we've taken some photographs, we've seen some deer, covered some country you haven't seen before, so I hope you've enjoyed it. It's a great walk. Give yourself plenty of time to do it, especially if there's any adverse weather. Give yourself lots of extra time, because some of those crossings could be a bit dicey further up. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today and this video, and we'll catch up with you in the next one. Ta-ra.